The night I discovered my wife had spent nearly $1.8 million of our fortune, she was sitting across from me, smiling like nothing had happened. She thought I was clueless. She thought the money was hers. Most importantly, she thought I would never discover the truth. She was wrong. My name is Daniel, and for 15 years, I had built a successful construction company from nothing. I worked 12-hour days, skipped vacations, and reinvested almost every dollar I earned. Eventually, my company became worth millions. When I married Victoria, I believed I had finally found someone who loved me for who I was. For the first few years, everything seemed perfect. Then things slowly changed. Victoria became obsessed with expensive clothes, luxury vacations, designer jewelry, and private clubs. Whenever I questioned her spending, she laughed. "You work hard," she would say. "We deserve to enjoy it." I agreed. I never imagined she was secretly draining our accounts. One afternoon, I received a notification from my bank. A transfer of $85,000 had been made from one of our investment accounts. I froze. I hadn't authorized it. When I called the bank, they told me something even stranger. There had been dozens of similar transfers over the previous 2 years. I asked for the records. What I saw made my hands shake. Hundreds of thousands had disappeared. Then millions. And every transaction had one thing in common. Victoria had authorized them. But the biggest shock wasn't where the money went. It was who received it. The transfers were going to companies I had never heard of. Companies registered under different names. Companies connected to one man. A man named Ryan Mercer. I recognized that name immediately. Ryan was Victoria's business consultant. At least, that was what she had told me. Suddenly, every late-night phone call, every secret meeting, and every weekend she claimed was 4 girls' trips looked completely different. I wanted to confront her immediately. But something stopped me. If Victoria had hidden this much money, there had to be more. So instead of asking questions, I quietly hired a forensic accountant. 3 days later, he placed a folder on my desk. He looked at me seriously. "Daniel," he said, "you haven't lost your fortune." I stared at him. "What do you mean?" He opened the folder. "Your wife didn't just spend your money." He paused. She was preparing to take everything. And that was when I realized my marriage had never been what I thought it was. The forensic accountant's words kept repeating in my head. She was preparing to take everything. I barely slept that night. Instead, I studied every document he had given me. The truth was worse than I imagined. Victoria had secretly created several companies and moved portions of our fortune into them. Ryan Mercer was listed as a consultant, but he wasn't simply managing her money. He was her partner. And according to the documents, they had been planning something for more than a year. They wanted me gone. Not dead. Just financially destroyed. They had prepared divorce documents that would make it appear as though I had voluntarily transferred ownership of several properties. They even had emails discussing how Victoria would convince me to sign them. Then I discovered something that made my blood run cold. There was another bank account. An account containing nearly $600,000. I had never opened it. But my signature was on the paperwork. Someone had forged my identity. I immediately contacted my attorney. He advised me not to confront Victoria yet. "If she knows you discovered everything," he said, "she'll destroy the evidence." So I went home and pretended nothing had changed. Victoria greeted me with a kiss. "How was your day, darling?" I smiled. "Busy." She smiled back. I wondered how many times she had looked into my eyes while secretly planning to steal my life. That evening, she poured me wine and casually mentioned something unusual. I think we should update the house ownership papers. My heart stopped. Why? She shrugged. Just protecting our future. I almost laughed. She didn't know that I had already seen the documents. I told her I would think about it. Her expression changed for half a second. Then she smiled again. That tiny reaction confirmed everything. She was waiting for my signature. The next morning, my attorney helped me secure the remaining assets legally. We froze vulnerable accounts, changed passwords, protected property records, and documented every suspicious transaction. But I didn't stop there. I wanted to know the entire truth. So the investigator followed Ryan. What he discovered was shocking. Ryan wasn't Victoria's only secret. He was secretly meeting with someone else. Someone I knew. Someone who had access to my company. My business partner, Marcus. When I saw the photographs, I felt physically sick. Marcus had been my closest friend for 12 years. He knew every detail about my finances. He knew which properties were valuable. He knew how much money I had. And now I understood. This wasn't just a cheating wife. It was a carefully planned betrayal involving the two people I trusted most. But they had made one fatal mistake. They underestimated the man they were trying to destroy. I decided to let them believe their plan was working. Because sometimes, the best revenge is allowing your enemies to walk confidently into the trap you built for them. For the next 3 weeks, I became the husband Victoria believed she could control. I stopped asking questions. I stopped checking the bank accounts in front of her. I even apologized for being distant. Victoria loved it. She thought I was becoming weak. Marcus was even more confident. During business meetings, he started making suggestions about selling some of my properties. You've worked hard enough, he told me. Maybe it's time to simplify your life. I smiled. Maybe you're right. Inside, I was documenting everything. My attorney had built a complete case. The forged signatures. The secret companies. The hidden transfers. The messages between Victoria and Ryan. And the conversations proving Marcus had helped them. Then came the moment they had been waiting for. Victoria walked into my office holding a folder. I've prepared something for you, she said. I opened it. It was a document transferring ownership of several properties. She sat beside me. You trust me, don't you? I looked directly into her eyes. More than anyone. That answer made her smile. She pushed a pen toward me. Then sign. I picked up the pen. For 1 second, Victoria believed she had one. Then I placed the pen back on the desk. I'll sign tomorrow. Her smile disappeared. Why tomorrow? Because I want my lawyer to review it. She immediately became angry. Daniel, you're making this complicated. I remained calm. Then there shouldn't be a problem. She stormed out. That night, she called Ryan. She didn't know the conversation was being documented legally. We need to move faster, she said. Ryan replied, he suspects something. Victoria's voice became cold. Then we'll make him look unstable. That was the final piece we needed. They weren't just stealing my money. They planned to destroy my reputation so nobody would believe me. The next morning, Victoria filed for divorce. She claimed I was controlling, emotionally unstable, and financially irresponsible. Marcus backed her story. Ryan prepared to transfer the remaining money. But they had no idea what was waiting for them. 2 days later, I called everyone involved into the same conference room. Victoria arrived first. Then Ryan. Marcus entered last. They looked surprised to see each other. I stood at the end of the table. Victoria stared at me. "What is this?" I slowly placed 3 thick folders on the table. "This," I said, "is the truth." Her face went pale. Ryan stopped breathing. Marcus looked at the folders. Then he looked at me. I smiled. "You wanted everything." I opened the first folder. "So I decided to show you exactly what you've earned." Nobody spoke. The room became completely silent. Victoria stared at the documents like they were a death sentence. Ryan reached for the first folder. I pulled it away. "Not yet." Marcus looked terrified. "You don't understand," he said. I laughed quietly. "Oh, Marcus. I understand everything." I placed photographs, bank records, emails, and forensic reports across the table. Every secret transfer. Every forged signature. Every meeting. Every message. Everything was there. Victoria began crying. "Daniel, please listen to me." I looked at her. "For 15 years, I listened to you." She shook her head. "I made mistakes." "No," I said. "Mistakes happen accidentally. You planned this." Ryan suddenly stood. "You can't prove anything." My attorney walked into the room. "I believe we can." Ryan sat down immediately. Then my attorney explained what would happen next. The stolen funds were being recovered. The fraudulent companies had been reported. The forged documents had been submitted to investigators. And the evidence connecting Marcus and Ryan to the scheme had already been secured. Victoria looked at me desperately. "What do you want?" That question almost made me laugh. For years, she had wanted my money. Now she was asking what I wanted. "I want my life back." She started crying harder. "I still love you." I looked at the woman I had once trusted more than anyone. "I loved the woman I thought you were." Then I stood. But she never existed. The divorce became final months later. Most of my stolen fortune was recovered. Marcus lost his position and faced legal consequences. Ryan's companies were investigated, and the accounts connected to the scheme were frozen. Victoria walked away with far less than she expected. But money wasn't my victory. My victory was waking up every morning without wondering who was lying to me. I sold the house where Victoria and I had lived. I moved to a quieter city. For the first time in years, I took a vacation without checking my phone every 5 minutes. I started rebuilding my life, not my bank account. One evening, I received a letter from Victoria. There was only one sentence that mattered. "You were the last person I thought would fight back." I folded the letter and put it away. Because she was right. I hadn't fought back when she expected it. I waited. I gathered the truth. And when the moment came, I had the final word. The lesson I learned was simple. Never confuse someone's silence with weakness. Sometimes the quietest person in the room knows the most. And sometimes, when betrayal pushes you too far, the strongest revenge isn't destroying someone. It's taking back your life and leaving them with nothing but the consequences of their own choices.